You have been told canned foods are convenient solutions for seniors, but convenience means nothing if you're too weak to enjoy your life. Here's what nobody's telling you about canned foods. Two canned foods are actually muscle-protecting superfoods in disguise, and you've probably been avoiding them. Let's start with the good news. First, canned wild-caught salmon or sardines in water or olive oil. These fish are canned at peak freshness, and the canning process actually makes the calcium in the soft bones bioavailable. One can provide 20 to 25 g of complete protein with all essential amino acids in perfect ratios for muscle building, plus omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, that reduce muscle inflammation. The bones in canned salmon provide 20% of your daily calcium needs, crucial for muscle contraction. But it's not just calcium. The bones also provide phosphorus in the correct ratio with calcium, plus trace minerals like strontium and boron that support bone and muscle health. The vitamin D content, about 450 IU per can, helps your muscles use that calcium effectively. Studies show seniors who eat canned fatty fish twice weekly maintain 30% more muscle mass than those who don't. Choose wild-caught varieties without added salt when possible. The canning process also makes the fish protein more digestible for aging digestive systems. The high heat partially breaks down protein structures, making them easier for your reduced stomach acid and digestive enzymes to process. This means you actually absorb more protein from canned salmon than from fresh salmon cooked at home. The bioavailability of protein from canned fish is about 94% compared to 78% for fresh fish. Second safe option, canned pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling.
Here, pumpkin is a muscle-protecting superfood.
It's rich in beta-carotene, providing 380% of your daily vitamin A needs per cup, which converts to vitamin A for muscle protein synthesis. 1 cup provides 7 g of fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria.
Here, supporting the gut-muscle axis.
The potassium content, 505 milligrams per cup, helps maintain proper muscle function and prevents cramping. Canned pumpkin also contains compounds called cucurbitacins that improve insulin sensitivity, helping muscles absorb nutrients more effectively. It's one of the few foods where canning actually increases nutrient availability, making the carotenoids more bioavailable than in fresh pumpkin. The heat from canning breaks down cell walls, releasing 5 times more beta-carotene than raw pumpkin. Mix it into oatmeal, smoothies, or make pumpkin soup for a muscle-supporting meal. The fiber in pumpkin also binds to toxins in your digestive system, reducing the inflammatory burden on your body and allowing better muscle recovery. Here's your action plan. Immediately remove the 5 dangerous canned foods from your pantry. Don't save them for emergencies. They are the emergency. Replace them with whole foods or the 2 safe canned options. Read labels carefully, avoiding anything with phosphates, nitrites, high fructose corn syrup, modified starch, MSG under any name, or more than 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. Instead of canned pasta meals, cook whole grain pasta with real tomato sauce. It takes only 10 minutes more and provides actual nutrition. Replace processed canned meats with fresh or frozen proteins, or keep canned wild salmon for quick protein. Swap cream soups for homemade versions using real ingredients or low-sodium broth-based soups. Choose fresh or frozen fruits over syrup-packed varieties. Make your own chili with quality ingredients and freeze portions for convenience. You control every ingredient. Track your strength over the next month using simple tests like grip strength. You can buy a dynamometer for under $20. How many times you can stand from a chair in 30 seconds? Aim for 12 by 15. Or how long you can hold a plank position. Homer Ben Twitter. Most people see improvements within 2 to 3 weeks of eliminating these muscle-destroying foods. Document everything. Take photos. Measure arm circumference. Note energy levels. Your muscles are ready to grow stronger. Stop poisoning them with toxic canned foods. Now let's talk about the dangers. At the can of soup in your pantry right now, could be the reason you can't get up from your chair without groaning. Ask of convenient canned meal you had for lunch. It might be why your muscles feel like they're melting away despite eating what you think is enough protein. If you're over 60 and relying on canned foods for convenience, I need you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal could be the difference between maintaining your independence and ending up in assisted living. 5 common canned foods are literally poisoning your muscles from the inside out, accelerating sarcopenia, that age-related muscle loss that makes you feel weak and fragile. It's not just about the sodium, though. That's bad enough. These 5 foods contain a toxic combination of additives, processing chemicals, and nutritional imbalances that specifically target muscle tissue in aging bodies. When you're over 60, your detoxification systems are already compromised. Your kidneys filter 50% less efficiently, your liver processes toxins slower, and your muscles are more vulnerable to inflammatory damage than ever before. The canning process itself can be problematic. High heat destroys certain amino acids that your muscles need. Chemical preservatives interfere with protein synthesis. And the can linings, many still containing BPA or its equally toxic replacements, disrupt your hormones, including testosterone and growth hormone, both essential for maintaining muscle mass. You think you're saving time and money with convenient canned foods, but you're actually accelerating your physical decline. A study from the University of Michigan found that seniors who consumed canned processed foods more than 3 times per week showed 40% faster muscle loss than those who ate fresh foods. They also had higher inflammatory markers, worse balance scores, and were 3 times more likely to experience falls. Today, I'm naming the specific canned foods destroying your muscles. Let's start with the worst offender: canned ravioli, Haze spaghetti, and other pasta meals. These aren't just bad for your muscles, they're muscle destroyers, disguised as comfort food. 1 can of popular brand ravioli contains 1,800 milligrams of sodium. That's 75% of your daily limit in one meal. But the sodium is just the beginning of the problem, yo. When you consume this much sodium at once, your body goes into crisis mode, pulling water from every available source, including your muscle cells, to dilute the sodium concentration in your blood. This cellular dehydration can last for hours, during which your muscles are essentially suffocating at the cellular level. These canned pasta meals are loaded with phosphate additives listed as sodium phosphate, potassium phosphate, calcium phosphate, or simply phosphates on the label. Here's what phosphates do in your body. They bind to calcium and prevent its absorption. Your muscles need calcium to contract properly. Without adequate calcium, every movement becomes harder, weaker, less coordinated. Studies show that high phosphate intake accelerates muscle aging by disrupting the calcium-phosphorus balance that's essential for muscle function. Excess phosphates trigger the release of parathyroid hormone, which literally pulls calcium out of your bones and muscles to maintain blood levels. You're not just preventing new calcium absorption, you're actively depleting existing stores. The phosphate problem is compounded by something called vascular calcification. When phosphate levels are high, calcium that should go to your muscles and bones instead deposits in your blood vessels, making them stiff and reducing blood flow to muscles. This means less oxygen, fewer nutrients, and slower waste removal from muscle tissue. Research from Johns Hopkins found that seniors with high phosphate intake showed 45% faster decline in muscle function over 5 years compared to those with normal intake. But it gets worse. The sauce in these canned pastas contains high fructose corn syrup, sometimes listed as corn syrup, glucose fructose, or simply fructose. This isn't just empty calories. High fructose corn syrup triggers advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which literally age your muscle tissue at an accelerated rate. These AGEs create cross-links in muscle proteins, making them stiff and non-functional, like rust forming on a machine. The process is called glycation, and once it happens, it's irreversible. Those muscle proteins are permanently damaged and must be broken down and replaced. But if you're constantly consuming foods that create AGEs, the damage happens faster than repair. The fructose specifically goes straight to your liver, where it's converted to fat, triggering insulin resistance. When you're insulin resistant, your muscles can't take in amino acids or glucose properly. You could eat all the protein in the world, but if your muscles are insulin resistant, that protein can't get into the muscle cells to rebuild tissue. Studies show that high fructose consumption reduces muscle protein synthesis by up to 35% in older adults. The meat in canned ravioli or beef pasta is another disaster. It's not really meat as you know it. It's mechanically separated meat. Basically, liquefied bones, cartilage, and scraps that are processed until they form a paste. This process involves forcing bones with attached meat through a sieve under high pressure, creating a paste-like substance that's then treated with ammonia to kill bacteria. This meat contains virtually no leucine, the amino acid that triggers muscle protein synthesis. You're getting protein on the label, but it's primarily collagen and elastin, proteins your aging muscles can't actually use for rebuilding contractile tissue. The protein quality score, known as PDCAS, protein digestibility corrected amino acid score, for mechanically separated meat, is about 0.4 compared to 1.0 for whole eggs or 0.9, 2 for real beef. This means that even if the label says 10 g of protein, your muscles might only be able to use 4 g, and even that's being generous. The rest becomes waste products that your kidneys have to filter out, adding stress to organs that are already declining with age. The processing of canned pasta also destroys B vitamins, particularly B12 and folate, which are crucial for muscle energy and repair. The high heat used in canning breaks down these vitamins by up to 80%. B12 is essential for the formation of red blood cells that carry oxygen to muscles. Without adequate B12, your muscles are literally oxygen-starved. Folate is necessary for DNA synthesis and repair in muscle cells. You're left with dead calories that fill your stomach but starve your muscles. Plus, the soft, mushy texture requires no chewing, which actually contributes to facial muscle atrophy and can affect your ability to swallow properly over time. The muscles involved in chewing and swallowing need regular exercise just like any other muscle, and soft processed foods eliminate this natural exercise. The can lining presents another problem. Most canned pasta meals still use BPA or BPS, bisphenol S, linings. These chemicals are endocrine disruptors that interfere with testosterone and growth hormone production. Even small amounts can reduce testosterone levels by 20 to 30%. For men over 60, already dealing with naturally declining testosterone, this additional suppression can be the difference between maintaining muscle and rapid deterioration. Women aren't immune either. BPA interferes with estrogen balance, accelerating postmenopausal muscle loss. The second muscle destroyer, hiding in your pantry, canned processed meats, like Vienna sausages, canned ham, potted meat, deviled ham, and canned corned beef. These products are so processed that calling them meat is generous. They're held together with sodium nitrite, a preservative that's been shown to interfere with mitochondrial function in muscle cells. Your mitochondria are the power plants that give your muscles energy. When they're damaged, your muscles literally can't produce the ATP, adenosine triphosphate, needed for basic functions. Without ATP, muscle contraction is impossible. You feel weak, not because you lack muscle, but because the muscle you have can't function. The sodium nitrite converts to nitrosamines in your body, especially in the acidic environment of your stomach. Nitrosamines are carcinogenic, but before they cause cancer, they cause cellular dysfunction. They damage the mitochondrial DNA in muscle cells. And unlike nuclear DNA, mitochondrial DNA doesn't have robust repair mechanisms. Once it's damaged, that mitochondria is permanently impaired. Over time, As more mitochondria become damaged, your muscle cells literally run out of power sources. These canned meats contain up to 40% fat, but it's the worst kind of fat, oxidized, inflammatory omega-6 fats that have been damaged by high heat processing. This damaged fat triggers inflammatory cytokines, specifically tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin-6, that directly break down muscle tissue. Research shows that consuming oxidized fats increases muscle loss by 25% in older adults, while also increasing joint pain and stiffness. The oxidation process creates lipid peroxides, which are like tiny molecular wrecking balls that damage cell membranes throughout your body, including muscle cell membranes. When muscle cell membranes are damaged, they can't properly regulate what goes in and out of the cell. Nutrients can't get in efficiently. Waste products can't get out, and the cell's ability to respond to hormonal signals like insulin and growth hormone is impaired. It's like trying to run a factory with broken doors and windows. Nothing works properly. The sodium content is outrageous. This excess sodium doesn't just raise blood pressure, it actively pulls water out of muscle cells, leaving them dehydrated and unable to function properly. Dehydrated muscles are weak muscles prone to cramping and injury. Plus, the high sodium causes whole body inflammation that accelerates muscle breakdown. The sodium also interferes with potassium balance. Potassium is essential for muscle contraction, and when sodium is high, potassium is excreted through urine. This sodium-potassium imbalance leads to muscle weakness, fatigue, and irregular heartbeat. But here's the really insidious part. These processed meats contain advanced lipid peroxidation end products or ALEs, which are even more destructive than AGEs. ALEs form when fats are processed at high temperatures with proteins. They trigger muscle cell death through a process called apoptosis. Your muscles are literally programmed to self-destruct when exposed to high levels of ALEs. Unlike normal protein turnover, where old proteins are replaced with new ones, apoptosis kills the entire cell. In young people, satellite cells can replace dead muscle cells, but after 60, satellite cell function is greatly reduced. Dead muscle cells often aren't replaced, leading to permanent muscle loss. The preservatives used in these meats, including sodium erythorbate and sodium diacete, interfere with vitamin absorption in your gut. They particularly block the absorption of vitamin B1, thiamine, which is essential for muscle energy metabolism. Without adequate thiamine, your muscles can't efficiently convert nutrients into energy. This is why many people feel exhausted after eating processed meats. Their muscles are literally unable to produce energy efficiently. Third on our list of muscle destroyers, cream-based canned soups, like cream of mushroom, clam chowder, cream of chicken, broccoli cheese soup, and lobster bisque. These soups are wolves in sheep's clothing, marketed as wholesome comfort food, but actually delivering a toxic payload that specifically targets aging muscles. The marketing shows steam rising from a bowl of creamy comfort, but what's really in that can would horrify you. The cream in these soups isn't cream at all. Cream in these soups isn't cream at all. It's a mixture of modified cornstarch, hydrogenated oils, and chemical thickeners like carrageen and xanthan gum that create inflammation throughout your body. The hydrogenated oils contain trans fats, even if the label says zero trans fats due to labeling loopholes. Manufacturers can claim zero if it's under 0.5 g per serving, but the can contains 2.5 servings. Trans fats have been shown to decrease muscle mass by interfering with insulin sensitivity. When your muscles become insulin resistant, they can't take in amino acids or glucose, essentially starving despite adequate nutrition. Trans fats also incorporate themselves into cell membranes, making them rigid and dysfunctional. Muscle cells with trans fats in their membranes can't contract properly and are more prone to damage. The modified cornstarch deserves special attention It's cornstarch that's been chemically altered to withstand high heat and acidic conditions. This modification creates compounds that your digestive system doesn't recognize, triggering an immune response. Your body treats modified starch as a foreign invader, releasing inflammatory compounds that circulate throughout your body and break down muscle tissue. Studies have shown that regular consumption of modified starches increases systemic inflammation markers by up to 40%. These soups are also loaded with MSG, often hidden under names like natural flavoring, yeast extract, hydrolyzed protein, autolyzed yeast, or protein concentrate. MSG isn't just a flavor enhancer, it's an excitotoxin that overstimulates nerve cells, including the nerves that control your muscles. Chronic MSG consumption has been linked to muscle weakness, tremors, and accelerated muscle loss in seniors. The excitotoxicity causes neurons to fire repeatedly until they're exhausted and die. When the motor neurons that control your muscles die, those muscle fibers atrophy from lack of stimulation. MSG also interferes with the hypothalamic pituitary axis, disrupting the release of growth hormone. Growth hormone is already reduced by 50 to 70% in people over 60, and MSG can reduce it further by another 20 to 30%. Without adequate growth hormone, muscle repair and growth essentially stop, no matter how much protein you consume. The sodium content in cream soups averages 870 milligrams per serving. But here's the catch. The can contains 2.5 servings, and most people eat the whole can. This sodium bomb causes cellular dehydration, muscle cramping, and increases calcium loss through urine, weakening both muscles and bones simultaneously. Over time, this calcium loss contributes to both osteoporosis and sarcopenia. What's particularly dangerous about cream soups is their effect on gut health. The thickeners and preservatives destroy beneficial gut bacteria while feeding harmful bacteria. Your gut microbiome directly affects muscle health through the gut-muscle axis. Bad bacteria produce toxins called lipopolysaccharides that trigger muscle inflammation and breakdown, while good bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that protect muscle tissue. The emulsifiers in cream soups, particularly polysorbate 80 and carboxymethyl cellulose, have been shown to reduce beneficial bacteria by up to 50% while increasing pathogenic bacteria. The gut-muscle connection goes deeper. Your gut bacteria produce vitamins, including B vitamins and vitamin K, that are essential for muscle function. When your gut microbiome is disrupted, vitamin production decreases. Your gut bacteria also influence how well you absorb protein. A damaged microbiome can reduce protein absorption by 30 to 40%, meaning even if you eat adequate protein, your muscles aren't getting it. Number 4 might surprise you. Canned fruit cocktail, or any canned fruits in heavy syrup, including peaches, pears, mandarin oranges, and fruit salad. You might think fruit is healthy, but these canned versions are muscle poison disguised as health food. The heavy syrup contains more sugar than a candy bar, typically 25 to 30 g per serving, and a can contains 2 to 3 servings. That's 50 to 90 g of sugar, and it's pure high fructose corn syrup that triggers massive inflammation and glycation. This sugar overload causes insulin spikes followed by crashes that catabolize muscle tissue. When blood sugar spikes, your pancreas releases large amounts of insulin, but in people over 60, cells are often insulin resistant, so the pancreas keeps pumping out more insulin. High insulin levels trigger the storage of nutrients as fat rather than directing them to muscle. Then, when blood sugar inevitably crashes, your body releases cortisol to raise it back up. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone that literally breaks down muscle tissue for energy. You're on a roller coaster that destroys muscle with every loop. Seniors who regularly consume high-sugar foods show 35% more muscle loss than those who maintain stable blood sugar. But it's not just the muscle loss, it's the type of muscle lost. High sugar intake preferentially destroys type 2 muscle fibers, the fast twitch fibers responsible for power and preventing falls. These are the fibers that help you catch yourself when you trip, stand up quickly, or lift objects. Losing them dramatically increases fall risk and decreases functional ability. The fruit itself has been so processed that most vitamins are destroyed. The vitamin C content, crucial for collagen synthesis in muscles, is reduced by 80%. Fresh oranges contain about 70 milligrams of vitamin C per serving. Canned mandarin oranges and syrup contain less than 10 milligrams. The canning process also destroys folate, vitamin A, and thiamine in your eating fruit stripped of its nutritional value, leaving only sugar and empty calories. The canning process also creates acrylamide, a compound that forms when sugars and amino acids are heated together. Acrylamide has been shown to damage muscle mitochondria and accelerate aging at the cellular level. It specifically damages complex after the electron transport chain in mitochondria, reducing ATP production by up to 40%. This means your muscles have 40% less energy available for any activity. Acrylamide also increases oxidative stress, creating free radicals that damage muscle proteins and DNA. But here's what nobody talks about. The syrup creates an acidic environment in your body. Your blood pH must remain between 7.35 and 7.45. And when you consume acidic foods, your body pulls calcium and other minerals from your muscles and bones to neutralize the acid. This mineral depletion leaves muscles weak and prone to cramping. The acid load from canned fruit and syrup is comparable to drinking soda. Your body uses the amino acid glutamine from muscle tissue to neutralize acid, literally breaking down muscle to maintain pH balance. The combination of high sugar and acid also feeds pathogenic bacteria and yeast in your gut, particularly Candida. Overgrowth produces toxins that interfere with nutrient absorption and trigger systemic inflammation. People with Candida overgrowth often experience muscle weakness, joint pain, and chronic fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. The fifth muscle destroyer is cheap canned chili, particularly the budget brands that dominate store shelves. While chili might seem like a healthy, protein-rich option, most canned versions are inflammatory bombs that accelerate muscle loss. The beans are often undercooked and treated with calcium chloride to maintain firmness, which interferes with mineral absorption in your gut. Calcium chloride creates an artificial firmness that your digestive system can't break down properly, leading to fermentation in the large intestine and the production of inflammatory compounds. The meat quality is abysmal, often containing beef that's actually textured vegetable protein, TVP, mixed with meat scraps and held together with phosphate binders and transglutaminase, also known as meat glue. This fake protein doesn't provide the essential amino acids your muscles need. TVP is made from defatted soy flour that's been processed with hexane, a petroleum-based solvent. Traces of hexane remain in the final product, adding to your body's toxic burden. The protein quality score of TVP is only 0.52, meaning your body can only use about half of it for muscle building. The sauce is loaded with sugar, sometimes 15 to 20 grams per can, hidden under names like corn syrup solids, modified food starch, maltodextrin, or dextrose. These sugars feed inflammatory bacteria in your gut while starving beneficial bacteria. The resulting dysbiosis triggers the release of bacterial toxins that directly interfere with muscle protein synthesis. Research shows that gut dysbiosis can reduce muscle protein synthesis by up to 30% regardless of protein intake. These chilies also contain dangerous levels of lectins from improperly prepared beans. Lectins are proteins that can damage your gut lining, creating leaky gut syndrome. When your gut is leaky, inflammatory compounds enter your bloodstream and trigger muscle breakdown throughout your body. Studies show that high lectin consumption can reduce muscle mass by 20% in older adults. Red kidney beans, commonly used in chili, have some of the highest lectin levels of any food. Proper cooking destroys most lectins, but the quick, high-pressure canning process often leaves significant amounts intact. The spice mix often contains MSG and artificial flavors that overstimulate your nervous system while providing no nutritional value. Plus, the high sodium content, usually over 2,000 milligrams per can, creates a perfect storm of dehydration, inflammation, and mineral imbalance that leaves your muscles weak and wasting. Many brands also add potassium chloride as a salt substitute, which can interfere with muscle function if you're taking certain medications, particularly ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. These 5 canned foods are literally programming your muscles to waste away, stealing your strength one meal at a time. Every can of processed pasta, every Vienna sausage, every cream soup is a dose of muscle poison that pushes you closer to frailty and dependence. But now you know the truth. You know which foods to avoid and which ones actually support muscle health. Your muscles can rebuild at any age when you stop poisoning them and start nourishing them properly. The choice is yours. Continue eating foods that destroy your independence, or make simple switches that preserve your strength and dignity. Check your pantry today. Which of these muscle destroyers are hiding there? And what will you replace them with? Your stronger future starts with the next. Can you choose to open or choose not to?